Well, I mentioned at the end of part 2 the rain was coming. Well, it did, and it did rain for a few days. After we dried out a bit, it's time to get back to work on the barbecue shack. This is part 3 of the build. Today we're going to be working on the roof. I just make a mark so I know where the rafters need to go. I make holders to hold the rafters. That way it's easier for me to lift them up by myself. The idea is that I can lift one end of the board, get it on the holder, and then lift the other end and put it in the second holder. The holder is pretty much just one board for the rafter to set on, and one board to keep the rafter from sliding off the holder. Here's the finished holder. You can kind of see what I was talking about. Now I just need to make one quick holder for the front. Now I'm going to try to lift the first rafter into place. These treated boards are still fairly wet, so they're very heavy. I've used this method before and had very good luck. Of course, I end up moving the ladder in the way so you can't really see what's going on with the back of the rafter. But as I lift the board and get on the ladder, I can tell something isn't quite right. I look back at the board and see it has came completely out of the slot and just setting on the holder. So at this point, I decide to regroup and look for another option. So this time I brought out some help. Figured I would just use the tractor loader to lift the boards. Even if it happens to fall out of the slot, the board will just fall on the deck. It won't fall on me, nobody gets hurt. And I get it, not everyone has a tractor with a loader to use for this purpose. But I figured I have it, so I might as well use it. And I'm sure guys that do this type of work all day lift boards like this all the time with no problem. I just get a little nervous when I'm doing it. After the loader lifted the boards, I'll put my holders back in place. This way I can make final adjustments on the rafters before screwing them in. This was so much easier than trying to lift the boards myself. Now I can just lower the loader so that the rafters are setting on the holders themselves. Now I've got all the rafters in place, just need to secure them to the posts. I wanted to put bolts through the rafters and into the posts. I get my bolts and hardware from Tractor Supply so that I can purchase them by the pound instead of individual pricing. While I was there, I was looking for a long 5/8 inch drill bit. They had one, but it was Milwaukee brand and it was pretty expensive. So I decided to run to Harbor Freight and get a cheap set of long bolts. Likely wasn't the best idea. I had to speed this up. It was taking forever to get through that wood. Likely because I cheaped out and went to Harbor Freight for the drill bits. Here we are, all bolted up and ready to go. We paid a quick visit to our local used tin vendor to get some good roofing material. What we ended up getting, what I believe, is actually siding for a metal building. I believe he said it came off an old horse arena that was being rebuilt. He had some really long ones, but no way I'd be able to fit that in the truck. I ended up getting 8 and 9 foot ones and a few short ones just to make up the difference. I pulled out the caliper to see how thick the metal was. It came out to 0.91 millimeters. That's about 20 gauge steel. The stuff they sell at Home Depot or Lowe's is about 31 gauge. So this metal is about 3 times thicker. Here I've got them all laid out so we could get good measurements and get them kind of sprayed off and cleaned up a bit. I didn't end up filming installing the strapping, but we've got that installed or ready to start installing the tin. To secure the tin to the strapping, I'm using these Teks self-drilling screws. I'm also using some silicone metal caulk to fill any holes before putting up the tin. It is used, so there's a few holes in it, but the quality and the price compared to buying from Lowe's or Home Depot is just well worth it. I got the first couple of rows installed. I'll show you how I installed it here on this next piece. Now make sure you wear gloves when you're handling this stuff. It's got some very sharp edges and corners. The wind was pretty bad, so I'd have to wait for it to die down a bit to lift each piece up. I could kind of feel when the balance was just about right to let it go and it would fall up on the roof. I thought about trying to use the tractor to lift the tin up there, but then I didn't really like the idea of it maybe slipping off of the loader and taking my head off or something. Before I screw down that piece we just put up here, I'm going to apply some liquid nails just to hold it down and give it a really good seal. I went with a 112 roof pitch. We don't hardly ever get snow around here, but I wanted to make sure the rain doesn't creep back up under the tin where I joined it together. Then I'll move the tin in place and put some screws in it to hold it down. If there were pre-existing holes where I needed to screw into the wood, I would just use those. Otherwise, the self-tapping screws made really easy work of creating the holes and bolting down the tin. Some of the tin didn't have a perfectly square edge, so I'll have to square off the ends. To cut it, I'm using this LENOX Metal Max blade. This thing is worth its weight in gold. You'll notice it's just a bit difficult to cut with the end piece falling off. Make sure to watch episode 4 where I'm cutting tin for the sides. I figured out a way to support both ends of the tin much better. And here we are with the tin completely installed. I couldn't be happier. We could actually use it at this point, but I'm more anxious just to get the sides up first. Well, we got the roof on, got the tin up there. Now I will say, I'm a lot like Tom Cruise, at least in this one instant. I do my own stunts. But, just like if you're watching Mission Impossible 38 and Tom Cruise is hanging from the tallest building in the world, you probably don't want to try to replicate that. Same thing goes with when you see me doing something. Don't do it because you see me doing it. This is entertainment purposes only. Go do your own research, and if you're not comfortable doing anything when you're building these something like this barbecue shack, go hire a professional. Don't risk your life or risk injury. I probably did a little bit too much risk today. And in fact, this wind is a bit crazy right now. Being up there with that tin in my hand was not a smart decision. But anyway, I did it and I was able to get it up there without causing any injury. This stuff is thick, so it is very heavy, which is good because it doesn't let the wind blow it away too easily. But anyway, thanks for watching.